All right, we are going to get started on chapter 23. This is the last chapter in part 4. So you can see over here we've just read part 4. And part 5 has a different title, A New Life, blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of a pivotal chapter right here, kind of an important one. Here we go, chapter 23, A Day Like Any Other. The second Tuesday in October started out the same as any other. I was late, as usual, because I'd slept in. As usual. I'd stayed up late after talking to Moniba, studying for my year-end exam in Pakistani studies. I'd already done a disappointing job on my physics exam, so I would have to get a perfect score on this exam if I was going to take the #1 spot back from Malala. It was a point of pride. It was also a sibling thing. If I didn't come in first, I'd never hear the end of it from Kashal. I gulped down a bit of fried egg and chopti with my tea and raced out the door, just in time to catch the bus crammed with other girls on the way to school. I was happy that morning, ridiculously happy. Before I left, my father had been teasing Atal, saying that he could be my secretary when I became prime minister. And of course, Atal said no, he would be prime minister and I would be his secretary. All right, guys, pause. Does this sound familiar from our prologue? It should. So we're going to continue on, but this should sound familiar. It seemed as if everything in my life was going well. My mother was learning to read. I was on my way to the school I loved, and Moniba and I were friends again. I told myself not to worry about Malka-i-Noor and instead work hard. And I thought I should thank God for all I had, so I did. I whispered a prayer of thanks before I managed a few last minutes of studying for my exam. Oh, and God, I said, please don't forget to give me first place, since I have worked so hard. I always prayed the most during exams. Usually I did not pray on time, which means praying 5 times a day, our religious duty. But at this time of year, my friends and I all prayed on time. I asked for help with my exams or help to come in first in class. Our teachers always told us, though, God won't give you marks if you don't work hard. God showers us with his blessings, but he's honest as well. So I always worked hard, too. Exam morning passed, and I felt confident I had done well. Afterwards, Moniba suggested that we stay behind and wait for the second pickup, which we did often so that we could chat before going home. When the Dinah arrived, I looked around for Atal. My mother had told him to ride home with me that day. But soon I was distracted as the girls gathered around to watch our driver do a magic trick with a disappearing pebble. No matter how much we tried, we could not figure out his secret. I forgot all about Atal as we piled into the van. We squeezed in and took our usual places, about 20 girls in all. Moniba was next to me, and the rest of my friends were across from us on the other bench. A little girl named Hina grabbed the seat next to me, the spot where my friend Shazia usually sat, forcing Shazia to sit on the bench in the middle where we often put our backpacks. Shazia looked so unhappy, I asked Hina to move. Just as the van was about to pull away, Atal came running. The doors were shut, but he jumped onto the tailboard on the back. This was a new trick of his, riding home, hanging off the tailboard. It was dangerous, and our bus driver had had enough of it. Sit inside, Atal, he said, but Atal didn't budge. Sit inside with the girls, Atal Khan Yousafzai, or I won't take you, the driver said, with more force this time. Atal yelled that he would rather walk home than sit with girls. He jumped down and stormed off in a huff. It was hot and sticky inside the Dinah as we bounced along Mignora's crowded rush-hour streets, and one of the girls started a song to pass the time. The air was thick with the familiar smell of diesel, bread, and kebab mixed with stench from the nearby stream, where everyone dumped trash. We turned off the main road at the army checkpoint, as always, and passed the poster that read, Wanted, Terrace. Just after we passed the Little Giant Snack Factory, the road became oddly quiet, and the bus slowed to a halt. I don't remember a young man stopping us and asking the driver if this was the Kashal school bus. I don't remember the other man jumping onto the tailboard and leaning into the back where we were all sitting. I never heard him ask, "Who is Malala?" And I didn't hear the crack, crack, crack of the 3 bullets. The last thing I remember is thinking about my exam the next day, and after that, everything went black. Of course, because we know what happens, we know what just happened. So we kind of have been holding our breaths, waiting for it, and here it is. So we'll be starting next, part 5, which is the last part that we have, you can see, but it's a long part. But part 5, A New Life Far From Home, and chapter 24 is a place called Birmingham. That kind of gives us a glimpse into what we might be seeing next.